Another morning, and I wake with thirst for the goodness I do not have. I walk out to the pond, and all the way, God has given us such beautiful lessons. O Lord, I was never a quick scholar, but sulked and hunched over my books past the hour and the bell. Grant me in your mercy a little more time. Love for the earth and love for you are having such a long conversation in my heart. Who knows what will finally happen or where I will be sent. Yet already I have given a great many things away, expecting to be told to pack nothing, except the prayers which, with this thirst, I'm slowly learning. Let's just take a comfortable seat here. I have others to admit. And for those who came in late, I'll share the screen again. Feet flat on the floor. Softening your shoulders. Placing the hands up on your lap. Softening the muscles in your face and the belly. Feeling that cathedral door of the heart just starting to creak open and invite you in. Lengthening the neck a little bit. 'And then just easing into that deepening of breath. Four counts, if it's possible, and then 5 counts out. Really taking in the suffering of whatever you're holding or thinking about today. And then releasing that breath all the way out and beyond so that it crashes through you. Breathing in the suffering. Breathing out compassion. we're in it. We're going to talk about the soft animal body that Mary mentions in another of her poems, Wild Geese. So I want to home in on the body today as an anchor. First, remembering that it is. Homing in on whatever part of it is in pain or uncomfortable. Just laying a mental hand on its shoulder as if it were a child. And then just taking that child along and showing them all of the fantastic sights in this garden body, the buzzing in your feet and your aliveness in your legs, the strength in your thighs. Power center in your belly. That open cathedral door of the heart. All that the shoulders bear. The flying buttresses, the brain, the high ceilings, the frescoes on the walls. This is an amazing place. Thirst. Another morning, and I wake up with thirst for the goodness I do not have. I walk out to the pond, and all the way, God has given us such beautiful lessons. Oh Lord, I was never a quick scholar, but sulked and hunched over my books past the hour and the bell. Grant me in your mercy a little more time. Love for the earth and love for you are having such a long conversation in my heart. Who knows what will finally happen or where I will be sent? Yet already I have given a great many things away, expecting to be told to pack nothing, except the prayers which, with this thirst, I'm slowly learning. Mary had sent this poem to Poetry Magazine when she was getting ready to publish the book by the same name, Thirst, in 2005. And she told me that poetry had asked her to change the word beautiful to something else. And she refused, and the poem never appeared in poetry. I love this poem because it seems to be the partner poem of her famous Wild Geese. And you all remember, I'm sure, the first line is, "You don't have to be good. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves." You do not have to be good. And yet this poem, written about 15, 20 years later, says, "Another morning and I wake with thirst for the goodness I do not have." So what is this thirst for goodness if in the other poem she's saying to us, you don't have to be good? It's a wonderful tension between good for what? In Wild Geese, the goodness she's speaking of has to do with how the world sees us as productive citizens, how the world perceives us as successful and doing right and doing good, following the rules outside of us that were set before us by cultural conditioning and such. That's the kind of good she's talking about in that poem. And she's talking about this kind of thirst. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves as well. It's about finding out what you love and leaning toward that and following that thread. If we remember William Stafford's poem, just following that thread of letting your body love what it loves. Mary was associated with Buddhism her entire career, and yet the language of this poem is very much rooted in the Episcopalian tradition that she became a part of for a brief number of years in the early thousands. She was attending an Episcopalian church in Cape Cod. So you get Christian imagery and Christian language in this poem, but it's essentially the same kind of goodness and love that she's talking about in both. But here she's trying to find it. In Wild Geese, she assumes we know where it is. But in Thirst, she's going to a higher level because she's actually looking for it in her body. And she's feeling that trance of unworthiness, that, oh, I don't have enough of it. I need more of it. There's a word for thirst in the Buddhist tradition, and it's tanha. It's the overarching craving that causes all suffering. There's actually a word for this kind of thirst, spiritual thirst as well. It's bhava tanha. It's a thirst to become better, to become a better person, to walk a straighter spiritual path. But it's a desire all the same. And the little warning is that that too can cause suffering. But it feels like this poem was written in the same spirit as that moment that Jumping Mouse, if you remember, if those of you who were here remember from a previous week, is about to be captured by the eagle, blind and small and feeling the shadow of the eagle coming to pick him up and sweep him away. It's this moment of ultra smallness that we feel when we're actually at the highest point. And so she's trying to find this little high wire to walk where she can crave goodness, but not so much that it would cause her suffering, to be satisfied with the goodness that she has and to be able to find the love in her small animal body. And I just want to say that Mary lived this way, that this is a direct translation of Mary Oliver as I knew her for 20 years. I mean, I can speak on this because I watched her in action. I watched her well and interacting with people in Provincetown, and I watched her very, 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 very ill at the end of her life. And her behavior was consistent. And the story that this poem brings me back to every time has to do with a little package that came from Kodiak, Alaska, that was sitting on her coffee table one morning in Provincetown. And I noticed it and said, Mary, you got a letter or a package from Alaska. And she said, oh, yes, that was sent to me by my friend Tom Dancer. It had inside it a small white pine cone. And I said, oh, tell me about it. She said, well, it's very interesting. The pine cone, he found it in a pile of bear scat on the island. And he plucked it out of the bear scat, cleaned it off, I would hope, and put it in this envelope and sent it to me here. And I said, what an amazing gift. It's like Dante passing through the inferno to the other side. And he thought to send it to you because you would understand that gift. She said, yes, exactly. He thought to send it to me. That's why I ate the pine cone. And of course, I laughed for about 5 minutes, and she laughed with me. But she knew too that I would get it because I knew her. It's the same kind of thirst that we're talking about. It's this thirst for a love for the world beyond just describing it well. Mary didn't want to just wrap words around things and make pretty poems and describe them well. And that's why she became so beloved. There was this rooted adoration for things, the way we feel them for little babies that we say, oh, I could just eat you up to. We look at the little baby and we say, I could just eat you up. I love you so much. And Mary felt that way about small pine cones, spiders, little mushrooms in the field. She felt that way about the world at large. And I can't help but thinking that she had that ability to feel that way about herself, even the parts of herself that were in pain or experiencing cancer, as she did at the end. She was able to love herself in that particular high wire way. And it generates sometimes in all of us these kinds of feelings, bhava tanha. So let's go back into it and investigate those feelings in ourselves. Taking a comfortable seat here. Let your attention fall like a feather. Let it fall to that place she's calling the soft animal body. Where's that goodness you're seeking, which is already inside you? It's called Buddha nature. Where's that pine cone that you could eat right up? Look at the pagoda of that pine cone. Look at the pagoda of that feeling of love that you have for an animal, a dog, a partner, a beloved who's passed, a house, a garden. Just feel it in the space between you and that person or that thing or that animal. Buddha often talked about Buddha nature, our highest nature, the eagle self, whatever we call it, as being gold, covered in mud. It can never be besmirched. I love that pine cone because that white pine cone was exactly the same. It passes through its inferno to the other side and comes out whole. Returning to the breath. Maybe placing that mental hand again on the shoulder of whatever part of you is uncomfortable or feeling pain, worry, thirst to be better, unworthiness. Just to show them the pagodas of this love you're capable of. I believe Mary had the experience of suchness all the time. Tathata, the experience of the world empty of separate divisions and identities. She could see into things But when we love things with our soft animal body in the way that we're talking about now, we're having that experience too. It comes and it goes, but we're having that because we have the capacity for it. It's a long conversation. Pema Chodron says, nothing goes away until it teaches us what we need to learn. This is the long conversation. Here's thirst. Another morning, and I wake up with thirst for the goodness I do not have. I walk out to the pond, and all the way, God has given us such beautiful lessons. O Lord, I was never a quick scholar, but sulked and hunched over my books past the hour and the bell. Grant me in your mercy a little more time. Love for the earth and love for you are having such a long conversation in my heart. Who knows what will finally happen or where I will be sent? Yet already I've been given a great many things. Yet already I have given a great many things away, expecting to be told to pack nothing except the prayers which, with this thirst, I'm slowly learning.